So hello and thank you for signing up to today's webinar. I apologize in advance. I have a cold today. Um, my name is Neil Young and I help coordinate the Partnership for Procurement program, otherwise known as P4P. My background is primarily in business development, tender writing, within the third sector. Most recently, I worked with large social enterprise, the Wise Group, which is headquartered in Glasgow. While at the Wise Group, I developed a number of partnerships and supply chains for contracts that we bid for, including large employability contracts such as Workable Scotland, Fair Start Scotland, and both Dundee and Glasgow employability pipeline contracts. So by the end of today's session, you should understand the following. What P4P is and what support is available for social enterprises, how some of the successful existing consortia operate, and what the key success factors have been, the benefits of partnership working and collaboration, its challenges, how to get started, and the different consortia models, including their pros and cons. So the webinar should last approximately 30 minutes. We have then scheduled an additional 15 minutes after this to allow you to ask any questions. So you can actually ask questions at any time using the messaging facility on Skype. So it should be at your right-hand side. A recording from today's webinar will be made available through the P4P YouTube page, and we will also publish the slides on the resource section of the P4P website afterwards. P4P is an initiative which supports social enterprises and other third sector organisations to better access public contracts and other contracting opportunities, build partnerships and consortia. The programme is managed by SENScot, but it is a partnership between SENScot, Social Firms Scotland, the Scottish Community Alliance and Cooperative Development Scotland. SENScot works to ensure that social enterprises in Scotland have the support that they need to deliver positive outcomes in their communities. Its main activities involve informing, connecting, and developing the social enterprise community. So informing through a weekly bulletin and other newsletters, as well as a supporting website. Connecting through the encouragement and support of 18 geographic and 6 thematic social enterprise networks. So these are independent forums of peer support, collective action, and market development for Scotland's social enterprises. Developing by working with others to identify gaps in support and seek to develop new services to strengthen Scotland's social economy, and P4P is one of these. Against a challenging backdrop, the public sector in Scotland continues to spend in excess of 11 billion each year on purchasing a very wide range of goods and services. Where any public body is looking to commission a contract with a value of over £50,000, it must do so through the Public Contracts Scotland website. For contracts with a value of under £50,000, public bodies can either award low-value contracts directly or through what's called a quick quote through PCS. So a quick quote is a simplified method of procurement for low-value contracts on PCS. In recent years, there have also been a number of changes to procurement law, providing the public sector with some of the tools that they need to help third sector organisations win public contracts. So this came about through the Procurement Reform Act of 2014. The Act requires public bodies to consider how their procurement activity can improve the economic, social and environmental well-being of the area in which they operate and facilitate the involvement of third sector bodies in the process. This is known as the Sustainable Procurement Duty. It also specifically requires public bodies to consider imposing community benefit requirements to contracts. But despite this progress, according to the 2017 Social Enterprise Census, the majority of social enterprises, 80%, still do not bid for public contracts. And most remain pretty small, operating with an annual income of £100,000 or less. The 10-year social enterprise strategy highlighted the Scottish Government's aim of increasing the number and range of social enterprises which are involved in the delivery of public services. The Scottish Government believes that social enterprises can achieve much more by working together. P4P was established as a direct result of the Scottish Government's new 10-year social enterprise strategy, building on the existing Partnership and Procurement Support Service, which was managed by Scott and Social Firms Scotland between 2015 and 2017. So what support does P4P offer? Well, it offers a range of free services for social enterprises and other types of third sector organisations, including support with developing your partnership or consortium at all stages. Example, by helping organisations explore different consortium models, or by facilitating partnership meetings. Support to become tender ready or with writing tenders. So we could review organisations' tender documents or help you prepare a tender library with all the documents or information that you need before a contract is published. This could include model answers to tender questions, as well as a central place for storing up-to-date financial information, insurance documents, organisational policies and staff CVs. We can also help carry out research in relation to procurement, including researching potential procurement opportunities or partner organisations. The P4P website is now live. The website address is www.p4p.org.uk. So take a look at the 10-stage procurement guide. This is a step-by-step guide on procurement procedures, finding contracts, as well as planning and writing your bid. The P4P website has an extensive resources page, which includes various guidance documents, case studies, and tender-ready templates, such as bid writing plans, an implementation plan template, and a template for making a decision on whether or not to bid. There are details of upcoming contracts, upcoming events across the country related to procurement and collaboration, and also relevant live tender opportunities for the third sector updated every week. The website also now hosts the Business Third Sector Register. This is a searchable database for the public and private sector to find social enterprise and third sector partners. You can search the database using criteria such as location, areas served, sector, type of organisation, supported business, tendering experience, accreditations, and community benefits. If you're not already registered, then please sign up. Registration only takes 10 minutes and you can update your profile at any time. And P4P can support you with this if required. We have recently launched the P4P Collaboration Toolkit and online survey. The toolkit was developed as a guide for organisations who are considering working closer together and are thinking about forming a new partnership or consortium. Organisations can use the guide to track their progress and as a checklist. It has been prepared with 3 phases that follow the typical life cycle of a collaborative project. The toolkit can be used in conjunction with an online survey that we've developed, and you can find the link for that in the guidance document itself. And this can be used to self-evaluate your progress. Once you complete and submit the online survey, P4P will generate an Excel report and dashboard based on your responses. You can then complete a follow-up survey at any time thereafter to measure distance travelled. So you can find the toolkit in the resources section of the website under guidance. So I'm now going to give you 3 examples of existing successful consortia in Scotland. The first one is the CRNS Reuse Consortium. So the CRNS Reuse Consortium, which was set up by the Community Resources Network Scotland in 2016, is the first of its kind in Scotland. The consortium comprises 17 accredited furniture reuse members, with CRNS acting as the lead organisation. The consortium is able to support 24 local authority areas in providing 34 key household items through the reuse lot on the Scotland Excel domestic furniture and furnishings framework. So this includes all the main household essentials such as beds, sofas, tables and chairs, cookers and washing machines. Building on the success of the first generation framework, discussions took place in 2015 for the renewal of the framework, including the addition of a second lot for reuse goods. Scotland Excel agreed in principle to add the additional lot and then published the new framework in April 2016. So CRNS decided to bid for a place on the new reuse lot of the Scotland Excel framework. A steering group was then formed, which agreed that CRNS would take the lead in putting together the tender response and also be the lead organisation responsible for overseeing delivery of the contract if it was successful. Once the partnership structure was finalised, CRNS took responsibility for coordinating all meetings and documentation required for the tender submission. The steering group agreed the consortium's pricing strategy and ensured that all consortium members had in place the required processes and procedures. So shortly after the bid was submitted, the CRNS consortium was successful in gaining a place on the framework. CRNS then engaged with all local authorities to discuss the benefits of purchasing reused furniture from the Scotland Excel framework. And to date, 3 local authorities have signed up, including Fife, Renfrewshire and Aberdeen City. So factors highlighted by CRNS as critical to the success of the consortium's development include the following. There was dedicated resource at CRNS which helped keep momentum within both CRNS and the membership, as well as in collating the documentation required to bid, and in ensuring organisation in place the necessary policies and procedures. There was external support from sources including Scott, who helped put together the initial memorandum of understanding, and a consultant who supported CRNS with the tender submission. CRNS as a membership organisation was an obvious choice as a lead for the consortium, and there was also pre-engagement with Scotland Excel and existing strong relationships with some local authorities, including Fife Council. The Fife Employability and Training Consortium. In 2013, 8 third sector employability services in Fife came together to form the Fife Employability and Training Consortium. Fife ETC won the employability contract for the Opportunities Fife partnership, which has led to better, more joined up employability services in Fife, reaching more people from deprived areas. So again, Key factors which have led to the success of the consortium include the initial support package that the Opportunities Fife partnership provided to establish the consortium, the thorough process of forming the consortium, focusing on how unemployed people would benefit most and what the partners wanted out of the service in terms of profile, funding, staffing and upskilling. And there was also strong leadership from Bragg Enterprises, which is the lead organisation of the consortium. Bragg is a well-established social enterprise in Fife that provides business advice to other third sector organisations. So outcomes have included that now 60% of people supported by the Fife employability pipeline come from the 20% most deprived areas compared to 27% in 2013. And clients now have one single point of contact with the 8 employability services. Finally, the Scottish Communities for Health and Wellbeing Partnership. So AHW is a partnership organisation which aims to improve the health and well-being of people in Scotland. SCHW has 74 community-led partner organisations, employing over 100 staff and engaging over 300,000 beneficiaries in health-enhancing activities and events each year. So the SCHW consortium approach has 5 different stages. Firstly, identification. When a funding opportunity arises, all SCHW members are invited to be part of a group exploring a bid. Cooperation. Partners then co-design the bid over 3 meetings. Coordination. If the bid is successful, the delivery team and SCHW meet up to plan delivery, signing a formal partnership agreement. Collaboration. During the delivery phase, the partners agree a local reporting system and update their progress using this online reporting system on a monthly basis. Partnership meetings are held on a bi-monthly basis. And finally, sustainability. SCHW monitors progress and reports back to funders. So this information is used to plan for sustainability. So between 2012 and 2016, SCHW was successful in attracting over £300,000 of funding for community-led health programmes. Key points to consider about SCHW. It has no staff or premises, which means its capacity to develop the consortium is fairly limited. Instead, it relies on a board of 10 volunteers from community-led health improvement organisations. Where the consortium is interested in pursuing an opportunity, and if senior staff from each organisation cannot commit to participating in 3 set days of bid development, then the consortium decide not to pursue the opportunity any further. The SCHW board facilitator of the bid development process ensures that there is a climate characterised by openness, trust and friendship amongst the consortium members. So forming a new consortium or partnership can have a number of different benefits. This includes securing additional resources for your organisation or project, creating efficiencies or reducing costs, giving you a stronger, united voice when speaking with funders or commissioners, developing organisational skills and capability, improving the coordination and quality of services on the ground, so making them more joined up, for example, creating new ideas and services through collaborative thinking and doing, making services more responsive to community or user experiences and views, and improving long-term sustainability of the organisation or project. Better outcomes for your clients, and bidding for contracts that you could previously not access acting alone. Collaborating with others can also bring with it a number of different challenges, such as complexity in decision making, damage to your reputation through loss of control. What about when some of the partners don't deliver their contribution? The people around the table or your competition. Concerns about intellectual property, lack of resources to take the partnership forward. Could be a mismatch in the culture or values between partner organisations, and a lack of awareness of the legal obligations of partnership working. So what can you do to overcome the challenges of collaboration? Well, firstly, and most importantly, a good relationship between the partners. This might be something that you have already, but it also might be something that you need to work at. At P4P, we recommend that you agree the values and behaviour that partners should adhere to. So you do this in a project behavioural charter, for example. A similar culture, or at least an understanding and appreciation of each other's different culture. Written agreements, such as a memorandum of understanding and partnership agreement, which govern the collaboration. Strong leadership to drive the collaboration forward. Long-term thinking. A lot of time can pass before you experience any of the benefits. Development funding. This can help fund an external consultant. You could get development funding from sources including a support package from commissioners, external grants, self-funding, or repayable finance or loans. Careful planning. This will help ensure that you remain focused. So you can do this through irregular working group meetings or through project planning, such as using a Gantt chart. You might be thinking this all sounds quite abstract or theoretical. How do you actually get started? So based on the steps outlined in phase 1 of the collaboration toolkit that we've developed, we recommend that during the early stages of your collaboration, you should firstly assess your readiness for collaboration. Ask yourself questions such as whether you're ready to share information with others openly and transparently, and whether you understand what collaboration involves. You should appoint a lead or collaboration lead within each partner organisation to drive the partnership forward and make key decisions. You should identify and assess partners for compatibility and consider if any areas where you are not compatible can be overcome. Complete an initial market assessment. What contracts have gone out in the past and what could be going out in the future that you can bid for? What about opportunities in the private sector? What about funding opportunities? Establish a working group with clear terms of reference. And carry out stakeholder mapping and develop a plan for engaging with the various types of stakeholder. So there are various different operating models that you could use. The first two that I'm going to speak about are managing agent and managing provider. So managing agent is where an existing organisation bids for contracts and then finds subcontractors to deliver the service. So they don't actually deliver any of the service provision themselves. Instead, they specialise in providing a contract winning and management solution. Managing provider is similar to managing agent, but the lead body also delivers some of the service. Managing provider is probably one of the most common models used for consortia. And when I was based with the WISE group, this was the model that we used. The CRNS Reuse Consortium is an example of a managing agent model. because CRNS don't actually deliver any of the services themselves, but they do manage the contract. So advantages include that a lead organisation can bid for the contracts. It's also an existing organisation with a track record and is already known to commissioners. And there will hopefully be an existing infrastructure. Disadvantages include the lead organisation has sole legal responsibility for the contracts and bears all the risk. The lead partner could also potentially bring provision in-house. Super provider. So under the super provider model, organisations come together to collaborate to set up a formal consortium. This is a separate legal structure which embodies collective ownership and control. And through this structure, many separate providers effectively become one large provider. Core management functions of the consortium are carried out through a central support unit, leaving the providers to deliver frontline services through a subcontract arrangement. So it's also known as the hub and spoke model. And Scottish Communities for Health and Wellbeing is an example of this. Advantages include it is owned and run by the members, it protects individual members from risk, it acts as a single point of contact for commissioners and clients, and it could mean that you have more bargaining power collectively. Disadvantages include it can be difficult to prove your track record during the early stages of the consortium's development. Significant development funding and time may be required during its early stages, and it's also vulnerable to fluctuations in commissioning patterns. Finally, you could also use an informal network model. So this is an informal consortium where organisations come together to bid for contracts, but there is no new legal structure and no organisation leads. Advantages include members retain total independence and control and manage their own contracts. It spreads the risk. It's also often a first step to a formally constituted consortium. Disadvantages include there is no legal entity for commissioners to contract with, so they cannot hold contracts, and it does not allow for coordinated service delivery as well. So, to summarise some of the key points from this morning, the public sector in Scotland continues to spend in excess of £11 billion each year on purchasing a very wide range of goods and services. Recent changes to procurement law mean that the public sector now has many of the tools that they need to help social enterprises bid for these contracts successfully. Social enterprises, particularly smaller ones, are more likely to be able to access public procurement opportunities by collaborating rather than working alone. Benefits of collaboration can include financial savings, diversification of income, and it's also an opportunity to learn from each other. Challenges can include loss of autonomy, lack of resources to take the collaboration forward, lack of clarity on roles and responsibilities, and a cultural mismatch between partners. And you can overcome these challenges through careful planning, using written agreements, and a good relationship between partners. And there are various different operating models that you can use, such as what we have outlined this morning, including managing agent, provider, a formal consortium or super provider, and informal network. So you now have the opportunity to ask questions, and you can ask questions using the Q&A facility to the right. So the first question is there a particular consortium model that you would recommend? I think to this, it really depends on timeline, and sometimes the strict timelines within a tendering process mean that there's no way, there's not enough time to develop a formal consortium. So you're restricted to having to use a lead provider or going in as informal network. We often do recommend using a super provider model because the members are equal. But there are pros and cons to each, and not every model will suit every partnership. So the second question is, I'd like to learn more about Public Contracts Scotland and the procurement opportunities available. Is there any training that I can attend? So P4P doesn't actually offer group training or workshops on procurement ourselves. There's quite a lot of training that is available through either Just Enterprise or through the supplier development programs. There's quite a lot of webinars that they run on very specific topics in procurement. We do support organisations on a one-to-one basis, however. Another question that's been asked is, you would like a list of any funding stream that you can tap into. We don't actually provide advice usually on funding, although if you are looking at funding as part of your consortium, then perhaps that's something we could support. Another question that's been asked is about forward plans. This is something which is a new requirement. Forward purchasing plans are public bodies details of contracts which public bodies will be publishing over the next 2 years. This requirement is being implemented at different timescales by different public bodies and in different formats. So some are available already and some are not. The best way to find out usually is to email the public body directly, find out what their plans are. Some are being published over the next couple of months as part of public bodies' annual procurement strategies, and usually will be an appendix towards the end. Another question is that you would like a list of any funding stream that you can tap into for a possible recycling project. I would probably recommend that you go through your local social enterprise network or third sector interface to find out about funding opportunities. So as I mentioned, usually we don't, because we're partnership for procurement, we concentrate on contract opportunities as opposed to funding. But if you give us a ring or send us an email, we're happy to point you in the right direction for support. And another question that's just been asked is, would you recommend setting up a super provider model in advance of contracts being advertised just to be ready? Yeah, I mean, if you know the contract is going to be coming out in the next few months, like 6 months to a year, I think that could give you enough time to set up a new formal consortium. So that's probably the ideal situation, to be honest. Okay, is there any other questions? Okay, so thank you everyone for listening. I hope you found today's session useful. So remember that PP can support you to develop your partnership or consortium at all different stages, and with either a live tender opportunity or with helping you to prepare for tendering for contracts. So please visit our website, p4p.org.uk, to find out more, or you can contact us on info@p4p.org.uk. And just as a reminder, we will post these slides on the resources section of our website. And we will also make this recording available through the P4P YouTube page, and we'll put a news item about that on our website so you know where to look for it. Okay, bye for now.